I don't think enough people are talking about just how good Braden Montgomery could be next year. I think it's time to change that. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin. It felt like this year, a lot of us as Red Sox fans started really dreaming about what next year could look like for the Red Sox, simply because of the young players on this team now and the young players that are coming up over the next couple of months in 2025. But one name that we really haven't talked about a ton in terms of potential impact over the next couple of years is Braden Montgomery. So that's exactly what we're doing in today's video. We're going to talk about why Braden Montgomery could be an absolute monster in the Red Sox system in 2025 and what it could mean for the future of this team. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Now, some of you guys may not really remember who Braden Montgomery is because we haven't really talked about him since he was drafted this season, but he was the number 12 overall pick this year in the MLB draft and the number 1 selection by the Boston Red Sox. At the time of his selection, he was a 21-year-old junior coming off of a monster season at the college level. He had just wrapped up a year with Texas A&M where he had a .322 average, a .454 on base percentage, and a .733 slug, good for a 1.18 OPS. At the time, he also had 27 home runs and 85 RBIs. This season really capped off a fantastic college career for Braden Montgomery because in general, throughout 3 seasons at the college level, 2 of them with Stanford, 1 of them with Texas A&M, he had a .317 average with a .428 on base percentage and a .646 slug for a 1.073 OPS. He also averaged just about 20 home runs a season during that time with 62 home runs total in his 3 seasons. It's pretty safe to say he had a pretty successful college career. Now, the problem is, unfortunately for Braden, that career came to a pretty abrupt halt during the college playoffs this year when he fractured his ankle sliding into home plate. That's a big reason why Braden, who came in as the number 3 prospect in this year's draft, fell to the Red Sox at number 12. But despite that, major publications still believe in what Braden Montgomery could be because coming out of the 2024 season, despite the fact that he has not played a single professional game yet, MLB Pipeline currently has Braden as the number 55 prospect in the entire sport. Baseball America has him ranked at number 59, and Sox Prospects have him as the number 4 prospect in the entire system without him yet stepping foot on a professional diamond. So why is that? Why are people so high on Braden Montgomery? Well, the simple answer is because he has all the tools to be a very successful player, but obviously we're going to get a lot more in depth than that. The standout tool with Braden Montgomery is absolutely his power. It is actually something that he'd been slowly developing as he got into college. Coming out of high school, he was actually ranked in a draft in the 2021 draft, and people assumed that he may go in that draft, but at that point, he was a very contact forward player. He's really developed that power as he's gone through college baseball, currently graded out as a 60 on MLB's grading scale. Braden has shown incredible game power in the batter's box. We went over his home run totals earlier in the video, but he's also showing some impressive exit velocities too. It's not just that he's putting the ball out of the ballpark, it's how fast he's putting the ball out of the ballpark for a 21-year-old. But that doesn't mean he's all power. In fact, at the same time, he's been improving his power in the batter's box. He's also been improving his plate discipline. His freshman year, his walk to strikeout ratio was 4.05. Basically meaning that for every 4 strikeouts he had, he was walking once, or the other way around, right? For every 1 walk he was taking during his first season in college baseball, he was striking out 4 times. That's not exactly a fantastic ratio. It's a lot of swing and miss. However, he really improved that coming into his sophomore season because sophomore year, he managed to drop that ratio down to 1.25, meaning that for every walk he was taking, he was striking out 1.25 times. It was very, very close to having a 1-to-1 ratio, and it got even better his junior year where he essentially did go 1-for-1 with a walk to strikeout ratio of 1.11. In 3 years, he went from a guy who was striking out 4 times to every walk to a guy who was essentially walking once every time he was striking out. That to me is an incredibly encouraging sign. Now, there is still swing and miss in his game, especially from the right-hand side. He does tend to still chase some pitches outside of the zone, and that plate awareness and that command over a strike zone is still definitely definitely a work in progress. But to me, the most encouraging thing is that he's willing to and it has the ability to improve on what his approach at the plate is. And it's very, very clear when you take a look at his strikeout numbers, right? He's not a polished product. No one ever is when they come into professional baseball, but showing an ability to be able to improve that and have the willpower to improve that, to me, is a really good sign. So yes, that is probably the most concerning part of Braden Montgomery's game at the plate. And there is always probably going to be some significant swing and miss in his game. But if he can continue to be able to understand the strike zone and really sort of hone in on what pitches to attack, he could become a really deadly player at the plate. And it gets even more exciting because he could be a deadly player at the plate from both sides of it. He is a switch hitting prospect who the Red Sox believe can be a switch hitter in professional baseball. Now, that is a bit of a debate because over his college career, it's pretty clear that he was doing most of his damage from the left-hand side, but he also did get a majority of plate appearances from the left-hand side, so it could be a bit of a sample size thing. And at the same time, too, when you take a look at the splits themselves, he's still doing damage from the right-hand side. He's just doing a whole lot more from the left. There has been a debate as to whether or not he should just be a lefty as he makes his way through the minor leagues, but the Red Sox firmly believe that he can be a switch hitter, which is absolutely fantastic because it just simply adds versatility to his game, right? It allows him to do damage in multiple different ways and be a more effective player, which absolutely improves his potential, but it also improves his ability to fit on this current Red Sox roster. So you take a look at all of that combined with the fact that he has one of the strongest arms when it comes to outfield prospects of this year's draft. He was formerly a pitcher and he was reaching speeds up to 96 miles an hour with that arm. He has an absolute cannon. He played most of his season in right field this year, and his fielding is pretty average. It's 3 errors in 61 games at the collegiate level this season. It's solid. It's nothing super crazy, but you combine that with his arm, and all of a sudden, you're talking about a really, really impressive fielder. So you take a look at all the tools combined, and at bare minimum, most of them are average, if not better, and that's a really, really encouraging sign. And this is all fine and dandy, but the big question we have to answer is why does this translate to him being a monster in 2025, and what could this mean for the Boston Red Sox? But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Just simply helps these videos out a ton. It's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for taking a second and doing so. Let's get into the second half of this video. I think in terms of why I think this dude could have an absolute monster 2025 is because of a couple of things. It's a combination of Braden Montgomery's raw tool set. I think his tools have developed really nicely at the collegiate level, and I think those are only going to improve once he gets into professional baseball, but also because he's had that experience of being a college player, right? He's not essentially starting from ground zero and building himself back up. He's a couple levels up, and when it comes to especially the competition at the lower levels. If you take a look at other players who were drafted pretty highly by the Boston Red Sox in their path through the minor leagues as guys coming out of college, they moved pretty quickly. Kyle Teal came into the Red Sox organization last season and went right from the complex league to AA over the span of 17 games. Now he's knocking on the door of MLB just a year and a half later. Christian Campbell is almost in the exact same boat, right? It took him a little bit longer to get to AA, but once he got there, boom, right? He just sort of exploded and made his way up to Major League Baseball coming into the 2024 season. That could be a potential path for Braden Montgomery. Now, I'm not saying expect a Christian Campbell level season from him or anything like that, but I think the fact that he has that collegiate experience and the fact that he has really been able to develop some of his tools really well at the college level is going to translate well into professional baseball. Also, on top of that, too, again, he just has that raw skill set that leads me to believe that he is going to be a monster in 2025. He has the talent. It's just a matter of putting it together, and I think he's fully capable of doing that. And one of the things that really stands out when you have high school prospects is they never really had the workload of playing a full season, and that's a big thing that they need to work on as they get into professional baseball. Braden's a little bit of a leg up on that, right? He played 61 games in college last season. That's a big step forward in being able to understand how to get yourself ready for a full season. It still obviously half of what a major league season is, or way less than half actually, but it's a big step in the right direction. So there are, to me, a whole bunch of factors as to why Braden Montgomery could be a monster in 2025. The big question is, what does this mean for the Red Sox? Well, right now, it really doesn't mean a whole lot, right? Braden Montgomery is a complete unknown quantity. We don't really know what he's going to look like in 2025. We can only guess. But what it does do for the Red Sox is give them a whole lot of options. We've talked about this probably 1,000 times on this channel. We're going to talk about it probably 1,000 more. Guys like Lou Merloni, Rob Bradford, Section 10, all these big Red Sox personalities and media analysts are saying, hey, this offseason, it's not really going to be so much about free agency as it's going to be about the trade market for the Red Sox. Having a guy like Braden Montgomery in here gives them a bunch of options as to what they will be willing to part with going into 2025. This selection and the potential of Braden Montgomery makes it easier to part with guys like Miguel Bleis or Wilyer Abreu at the major league level, right? You still have some time until Braden Montgomery is scheduled to break through to Major League Baseball, as many publications don't have him coming up until 2027, but that could change really quickly. Things can change almost in the blink of an eye with these prospects when it comes to their potential and when it comes to when they could break through to Major League Baseball. Everyone said Christian Campbell was going to be 2026 if he got to the majors at all, and look at how that's ended up. Again, don't expect Christian Campbell from Braden Montgomery. It's just simply an example of the type of changes you could see from a prospect. So having Braden Montgomery in this system doesn't really do anything for the Red Sox right now, but it certainly does give them the option to do something at the major league level that they may not have been comfortable doing before he was drafted. And I think that is absolutely a massive impact. Regardless, I think some big things are in store for Braden Montgomery in 2025. I think he has the talent. I think he has the experience to really make a name for himself in the professional level when it comes to prospect rankings. The fact that he's already so highly ranked and without having touched a single diamond, to me, gives me a lot of hope as to what he could be. And with the guys graduating coming into 2025, like Roman Anthony, Kyle Teel, Marcelo Meyer at some point, Christian Campbell, there's a good chance that by the end of the season, we're talking about Braden Montgomery being the Red Sox #1 prospect and one of the top prospects in the entire sport. But we got a lot of ways to wait until that happens. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? What are you expecting from Braden Montgomery in 2025? And how do you think it impacts the Red Sox offseason plans, if at all? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Sea Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.